Welcome back to my channel. I'm Maggie Ostara, and I'm delighted that you're here. Today, we're going to talk about the final transit of the Sun and the Earth through the Human Design Mandala for the month of May. And this transit is going to start on Monday, May 27th, and it'll continue through the end of the month. And then on June 1st will be the first transit for the month of June. And we're going to have a significant shift for the Sun and the Earth, because we're moving out of the knowing circuit. Okay, let's go ahead and dive into the particulars. So when you look at the image for this particular day, you'll see that we have that 2551 lit up here, but it's going to go away. This is the very tail end of Mars being in that 51. So literally the 27th is the last day, and then it's going to move on. But we've had this channel really lit up, and it might be a good thing to, take a little time to reflect for yourself. What kind of breakthroughs have you orchestrated for yourself over these last 2 months? And what has come to you that have helped support you for your breakthroughs? And where have you maybe been kind of disrupted or shocked about that? And have you developed your spiritual practice to be more robust during this time so that you can be receiving those downloads? So it's really good to kind of reflect back over the influence that this particular channel and this particular gate, the 51, has had on us for so long, because it's really potent, and it's one of those energies that when you learn how to harness it and direct it, it can be extremely beneficial, but it can also be go a little bit sideways if we're not paying enough attention. So we're going to be moving out of so much attention on that 51, but yeah, I think it would be beneficial. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go back and really look, say, how was that supporting me? Because again, it's like through working with these transit reports, you can be developing your understanding of the 64 gates of the human design system, and kind of from how they're influencing in your life. And that, Ra Uru, who was the founder of human design, used to say that it was following the transits that you really get to understand the gates and human design, even in effect. So I, encourage you to check that out and work with that if it's beneficial to you. Then during this transit, we're going to have another channel lit up. All month we've been having centers and channels lit up. It's very interesting because it doesn't usually happen, not with the same regularity. And that's because we've got the Sun in the gate 16, which is the gate of Zest. I love that. Zest, right? And then we also have the South Node in the gate 48, which is down here on the spleen. And so we've got that complete channel of the 4816, which really will support you to be able to express your wisdom, to be able to express the understandings that you have developed over the course of your life, and both through research, but also through reflection, through creating your own breakthroughs, through working with people and developing your wisdom over time. And so that's in the gate 48. And then the 16 will support you to be able to, express that out in the world and be active with it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the gate 16. So the 16 is on the throat. And as I said, this whole channel is lit up. And that means, again, that the throat is defined, and also the spleen center. This time, it's not a motorized throat. There's no motor going to the throat. The spleen is not a motor. So it creates a defined throat, which does help with expression and articulation, not as much for manifestation. However, it's still a boon for those of us with open throats to get to experience what it's like to have that kind of consistency with our throats. And we want to watch out for the energy of the 48 that can be in its disempowered expression, which is the fear of not knowing enough. All the gates of the spleen are fear gates, and the fear of the 48 is the fear of not knowing enough. Now, my experience with people who have the gate 48 lit up in their charts is that they usually know more than anybody else in the room about whatever it is. whatever the topic is, unless they're there with a first line who's been an investigator in whatever that is for a really long time. But generally speaking, the 48s know a lot, and they just hold themselves back with that fear. So that's a good thing for you to be checking out for yourself here. How easy is it for you to express your wisdom out into the world during the transit? That's something that might tip you off a little bit about that. So then and this channel in traditional human design is called the channel of talent, right? And so it's about that ability to have skills, right? To know what we're doing. But it has this zest quality to it. I like to call that 16 the ready, fire, aim gate, right? Because it's kind of like the just do it, right? It's that Nike, let's just do it. Let's just go for it energy. In our last transit, we had the 34 that had that just go for it energy. And now we have it here in the gate 16. And it doesn't have the same power because it's not on a motor, but it is still beneficial for us especially when it's partnered with that 48, because the 48 helps to slow it down a little bit and helps to be like, okay, do we know enough? Are we doing the right thing? Are we going in the right direction? And that helps the 16 go, oh, okay, wait, let me calm down and check it out for a minute before I go for it, right? Am I aimed in the right direction? Am I going in the right direction? Because that 16, like I said, it can have a kind of adolescent desire to not consider consequences, not consider knowledge, just that like this joie de vivre to go for it. So it's actually a beautiful energy. It's just that you want to know what its potential pitfalls are so that you don't fall into them. And then the sun in the 16 is resting on the earth in the gate 9, which in traditional human design is known as focus, and in quantum human design is known as convergence. So focus is in the logic circuit, and actually the gate 16 is also in the logic circuit. So we've moved from the knowing circuit, which we were in for 3 different transits, and then we had individual circuitry and the integration circuit in the last transit. And here we've moved over to the logic circuit. So that 1620s in the logic circuit, but then also the gate 9 is in the logic circuit. So let's just talk about the logic circuit a little bit. The logic circuit is left-brained energy. It's logical, it's rational, it's reasonable, it's analytical, it's strategic, it's linear, it's focal, right? It's a focal gaze. That's the linearity and focal gaze. So it would make sense that the gate of focus is in the logic circuit, right? It's the ability to actually have that single point in focus, which can be super beneficial when we need to concentrate and be engaged with things and be able to not be pulled away with distractions and be able to be like, okay, I'm going to really focus here. I know it can be hard to focus in our world today. There are so many different ways that our energy and our attention are being pulled upon, right? I mean, just with all the social media, with YouTube, and just, so much entertainment that's available all the time. There are so many different things that are pulling on us. And then we also have a lot of responsibility and a lot of obligations. I mean, just the number of things that we have to track and take care of, right? It's like trying to have some kind of system that helps us do that so that we can actually zero in and focus in and pay attention to what really matters. Because it's easy to get pulled into and allow our energy to get dissipated with things that actually don't matter all that much, but we kind of get pulled away. And the jumping of the mind, right, and the jumping of the eyes all the time, that is a way that what my yoga teacher would say, she said, we spend our prana, right? We spend prana or we dissipate energy, right, is by jumping around. And so that ability to focus and to concentrate the mind is super beneficial. Now, one caveat I want to say here is that even though this is in the logic circuit, we can learn how to focus, have a concentrated mind in a way that's more right-brained. And that has to do with what we do with meditation. It's how we train our minds not to be jumping around everywhere, but to have a single point in focus, like with candle gazing, for example, or eye gazing. And that is a non-rational, non-linear, non-analytical, non-strategic way of being, right? Is to be relating to something and focusing and concentrating the mind, but we're not analyzing it. And it's actually a skill set that's really great to develop and is nurturing even in this very kind of distracted, bouncing around, kind of scattered world that we're constantly having to navigate and respond to. So while the Earth is in this gate 9, you have the opportunity to really ground yourself in this sense of focus and, asking what does really matter? Where shall I focus my energy? Because it's going to change, right? Where you're going to focus your energy is going to change at different points in your life. And you want to be flexible so that it can change. But then you also want to be able to dive in and be really focused when you're clear about what does really matter and what you want to give your life force energy to, because your attention is what sends your life force in a particular direction. And of course, that's what focus does as well. So here we are, we're grounding ourselves in this sense of focus. And that again has a kind of creative tension with the sun in the gate 16, which is the let's just do it, right? Let's go for it. The ready, fire, aim energy. So the gate 9 is saying, hey, wait a minute, let's focus a little bit. Let's make sure that we're focused in the right way. And the 48 is saying, let's make sure that we know what we need to know and that we've got everything understood before we take action. And the 16 is kind of like, okay, all right, now can we go? Okay, let's go. Right? So there's ways that you can think about these different energies almost like characters, right? They're almost like people that have certain propensities. And these are people who come alive in you when the different planets are transiting them. So you want to be able to have your focus and your zest work together so that they support each other and that they can hand off to each other. And some of them can be more in charge at one point, and another can be more in charge at another point, right? They all have their role to play. And when we can step back and get the biggest picture, we can see that everyone and every energy has a role to play. And we want to make space for them so that we can take advantage of what they all have to offer. And in fact, the gate 9, yes, it has focus, but it also has an ability to see the big picture. So one of the ways that it's been written about is it can see the forest and the tree, right? Because we often say we can't see the forest for the trees. So we want to develop the ability to see that big picture, to see the forest, right? But then we also want to be able to zero in on a particular tree or a particular meadow that's in the middle of the forest. So we want to be able to go big and focus in and go big and focus in. And this is how our brain is designed to work. It's actually like our right brain expands and our left brain focuses in and our right brain expands. So it's a beautiful thing to have all of these different capacities and these abilities in your magic backpack so that you can take advantage of all of the different ways of being, all of the different ways of engaging with life. And human design teaches us so many wonderful ways to do that. Stay tuned for my June transit report. The major themes, comprehensive video will be coming out soon. So I hope that you will check that out. We're going to have a community conversation about the transit report. And I invite you to come and participate. I'll put a link down in the description so that you can join us there. We do gather inside of our online community, which is the Becoming Sovereign Quantum Retreat Center. And it's free to join. And many of the events are free to come to. There are also courses that you need to invest in order to participate, but there's also lots of free things that you can check out. And so I would love to have you come to the community conversation about what's happening in June and to get to meet you and you get to meet other people and we'll dive in together. We'll just explore what's happening so that we can know how to maximize all of the benefits that are coming our way and make sure to avoid those pitfalls. Okay. Many blessings. Much love. Bye for now.